Another commonly used element is the tapered profile. And in COMOSYS, to create a tapered profile, there's no separate button, but you can just create a normal column, for example, over here. Let's say you want to give it this rotation. And when you double click on it, this standard dialog box will open. And if you notice, we already discussed the normal twin and built-up profiles. But if you click on this button, which allows you to change the section, let's do that. It'll take you to the sections database. And over here, while you can choose from any of these profiles, if you notice on the right-hand side, you also have the ability, you have this tab called the tapered. And if you come over there, it gives you the chance to create a tapered profile. Now, the way to do it is what you do is you select a type first. So we're going to create a tapered profile from, we can do it as either an eye section or a channel or an angle or a plate or a square tube, etc. But let's do an eye profile example. And it's going to have a start section and an end section. So for the start section, well, let's say we want an H value. H, as you know, is the height of the profile, to be 400 millimeters, and the flange width to be 300, and the web thickness to be 12, and the flange thickness to be 20. And for the ending section, we want the height to be 800. And of course, the flange width we don't want to change. We want to keep the web thickness the same and the flange thickness the same. And it's an eye section. I'm going to explain these later. Let's choose the H direction. You can choose either with the H direction or B direction or both directions. Let's choose this one. And then what you do is you say add section. When you do that, I'm sorry, I think I missed yes, this relative length. You need to give a relative length of 1. Because the starting section, technically in COMOSYS you can make it consist of multiple segments as well. But when you're doing detailing, then it's usually done in one part. So you give it a relative length of 1, and then you say add section. And when you say add section, it will actually create a name. This is a parametric name for that profile, for the tapered profile. So you need to select this name, or you can say select tapered member from here, and it's going to bring that name over here into your named section over here. And then you just say apply. And when you do that, that tapered section will be created. Once again, it behaves like a single entity, and you can press Control Q to rotate it. And you can also press Control W like that if you want to keep the straight side on this side, for example. So you have the same options which we have with other profiles, and you can modify it on the screen as shown. Now, if you remember, the name of this profile is a parametric name, and it's a longish kind of name. You don't need to remember it. You can just copy it from the other side like we did over here. But sometimes you might need to make changes. What you need to know is that you can actually make changes directly over here as well. So if I wanted to then change this 800 to 900, I could just go in there and say 900 and press apply, and it's going to become 900 at the top. Let's bring it back to 800 over there, and we have the original one. Now, if you decided to break this profile, just like you can break profiles, that would not work because the profile name would be kept the same. With the relative length of 1, it will become 2 profiles. Let's do it, and you will see what I mean. But then I'll also show you a solution for that. So, for example, if I were to go to edit frame and let's say break frame, and I want to break this frame, and let's say we break it right in the middle, so we hover over this point and we say DZ 2500 because the height of the column is 5000. So if I do that, I break it right in the middle, but it's broken down into 2 columns with the same starts and the same ends, right? because this column, this name basically is saying that it starts off with a height of 400, ends with a height of 800. So that being the constraint, obviously it's going to look like this. What you can do with this is you could go to the sectional view. Let's first of all, we know that since it's right in the middle, what we could do is it starts off at 400 and then at 800. I could just say, and I know in the middle it should have been around 600. So I could click on this one, and instead of 800, I could make it 600 like that. And then click on this one and say that this one, instead of starting at 400, starts at 600 rather. And when I do that, then I get the exact shape which I wanted. And if it was, in this case, it's exactly 600. What if I had done it at 3000? Then it would have been a not so clean number. Then I would need to find that number and input it just like I did a moment ago. You could, of course, also make the flange thicknesses of the bottom column different from the one in the top column. You could, because they're also part of the input. So the flange thickness starts from 20, ends at 20. You could modify these to be 10 and 10, for example. So if I make this 10 millimeters and I make this 10 millimeters as well, then the flange thicknesses, the outer heights would be the same, because those are the heights have been given as 600, but the flange thicknesses would have been modified. So these are different ways you can modify the name, the parametric name of that profile to get to the required endpoint. Now this tapered profile has been entered as a profile, so you can see that it's a single ID, and you can move it around as a single ID, and you can use the macros to connect it. But sometimes modelers would actually want to convert this into 3 plates as well. So you could do that. You could select the profile and go to your edit frame. And over here we have this option of tapered profile to plates. And so you need to select it first, select the profile first, then you go over here, you click on this button, and it asks for basically nothing. Whether you want to weld the plates together or not. The default is yes, and you can just say OK. And when you do that, that particular profile now turns into 3 plates. And now what you can even do is you can basically do your splicing. So for example, if you wanted to break this plate, this particular one, you could go to your edit plate and say break plate, for example. And let's say you wanted to break the first, say 2 meters from the ground. So you would come over here and say DZ 2000, and the same on this side as well, DZ 2000. What that'll do is it'll create a break in that plate at that point. And for the other side, because since it's an inclined plane, you could either just set your work plane over there to the surface, and then you just use the break command by giving a 3000 millimeter, because I wanted to stagger over here. This one was at 2500. I wanted the other breaking to be at 3000. So you could do just dy 3000, dy 3000 now, or you could just create 2 points and go to your edit plate command and just say break, and say I want to break my plate from here and here. And now you have your basically tapered member, which got staggered plates for the flange plates, and you can create your connections over there as well. So it depends on how you would like to work basically, but all kinds of options are available.